Hey everybody, Brian here with Sound Yeti. I'm really excited today to show you Revelation Hybrid Mallets. This is the third library in the Revelation series. I teased it a couple weeks back. It is now here, officially launched and on sale. Now I'd like to talk to you about the instrument and show you exactly what it can do. Now for Revelation Hybrid Mallets, we have sampled a Vibraphone, a Glockenspiel, and Marimba. Now, these, of course, are combined together. You can play all three at once. And, of course, we have our Sound Yeti sound design synthesizer engine, the Revelation engine that most of you are familiar with if you have our previous Revelation instruments. This one does have the Arpeggiator that we had from Revelation Fusion Harp. We've got all new sound sources for the synth layers, and we're going to take a look at everything now. So first and foremost, Revelation Hybrid Mallets. You can see this is, of course, a Kontakt player library. You will get a serial number and it will register as a library in native access, and it shares the same GUI and interface as all of our other Revelation libraries, so it'll fit right in. Now this one's a little bit different. Of course, we have three instruments this time. Instead of a piano or a harp with different mic positions and articulations, we have three different instruments: a marimba, a vibraphone, and a glockenspiel. So we can listen to those on their own just by highlighting each of these and then muting the different layers. So there's marimba. We have a hardness slider here. So listen to this, how this changes the sound. You can hear it adds that the attack of the mallet actually hitting the instrument. Now this one does have a little bit of reverb on it. If I turn the reverb off, we get a very dry sound. Let's go and check out the vibraphone here. So we have a nice range there. Now let's go to the Glockenspiel. The tone knob here will also change. It will kind of roll off the high frequencies and get a much more mellow sound. So this, along with the hardness, can get you a really nice warm sound. And then of course you can play all the instruments together. So you get a really nice sound there. Again, reverb turned all the way off, dry sound, beautiful sounding mallets. Now you can also transpose them up or down an octave here, so you can totally So experimenting with that gets you a really nice ensemble trio. So with the marimba drop down, I really like how that fleshes out the lower bass notes. All right, so of course we can add reverb delay to these if you want to change the actual reverb type. We're going to go down here. We have a settings panel there. This is the main page, and then click on the effects, and it will change which reverb and delay you can use. Now you notice we have two delays as with the other Revelation series. We can click this. So right under the delay slider, we can switch between delay A and delay B. So if you'd like delay A for the sound design layers, or delay B for a certain one and delay A for a different one, you can change what type of delay and all of the different parameters for each of those. So I'll just do delay A and add some reverb here. Again, a vast variety of reverbs, from small studios to massive taverns and halls and everything in between. So I'm just going to go Concert Hall A for the reverb there. So already, just with a little bit of delay and reverb, again, those samples really brings them to life. This is when we can start going into the sound design and playing around with it. So I've got that going on. Again, Marimba drop down an octave, Vibraphone and Glock up an octave. So let's go in and just kind of mess around with the different layers here. So we click this, we can load up the different sound sources. We have different categories: bowed, breath, particles, soft, and then tape, synths. You can also select between them all here without any of the different categories. So this one has a layer called Tektronix. Very, very, very soft. So I can raise the layers volume here. So we have the master volume of the whole instrument, the volume of just the mallets, the 3 mallets, whatever ones you have enabled, and then the layers volume here. Now the layers chance is how frequently those layers will play. For instance, if you don't want those sound design layers to always play with every note and only come in every now and then, you can lower that to, say, 50%. You'll notice as I do that, all of the different layers change down there. So if you want this layer to play less than this layer, and this one even less, so that will only play 15% of the time, this will play 100% of the time. Every time I play, that layer B will trigger, and then this one, layer A, will only trigger 50% of the time. So if I unmute those, we can watch as the volume goes up. You notice that layer there did not trigger until that very last note, and every now and then, of course, because it's only going to trigger 15% of the time. Let's go in and just kind of experiment with the different sound design layers by themselves without the mallets for now. Now, of course, we can transpose the layers just like we can do with the mallet, so tune it down 1 octave there. And then we can, of course, use the same delay and reverb that we have. Or we can change the delay to delay B and totally change that compared to delay A, which is on the mallets or whatever other sound source you want. We have different delay presets here, vintage, tape, modern, diffusion, and analog, and there's a lot of different ones just to start with. You can also, of course, customize the parameters however you see fit. Let's scroll through some of the sound sources and listen to them on their own, and then get to combining them all together at the end. let's change the reverb. Let's go to like a cathedral, you know, something just huge. And let's go, you know, with the different delays and kind of listen to those. The delays will have a lot of really cool effects going on as well. You can, of course, enable ping pong and use the presets, but you can get some really cool kind of like modulation and pitch shifting and stuff like that. The diffusion ones are really, really good for that kind of stuff. Stuff like that. So that was really over the top. I'm dialing those back a little bit for the demonstration. So where the magic of this instrument comes in, and my favorite parts about it, of course, we don't want to isolate just one layer. That's just showing you what the different sound sources can sound like. So even let's just do that one layer with the different mallets. So that crackling synth horn sounds very, very beautiful and ambient, a little bit dusty. And then we hold that note out. Now, what we can also do, instead of just holding the note and having those single mallets, is turn on the Arpeggiator. And this is where you can do some really cool soundscapes. So just some, little tips and tricks, stuff that I really like to do. That CS80 on tape, I love that sound there. So this is just isolating one sound layer. You can combine three, but for now we just have one, and then the marimba. I have the arpeggiator on, but playing at really, really low velocity. So it's very, very warm. And then turning up the mallets, I turned up the mallets volume so that the volume is a little bit louder, but the velocity, the dynamics are still very low. And you get this really beautiful soundscape. So let's add in a second sound design layer here. Let's do something with particles. Bowed guitar swarm. Let's solo that real quick. So that'll go really nicely with the sort of arpeggiated sound that we've got, along with the CS80 on tape. Let's add in the vibraphone here instead of the marimba. So they're clashing just a little bit there. There are lots of mids there. So maybe lowering the sound design layers. You get a really beautiful sound there. So that's a little bit of what you can do with the arpeggiator there. Of course, you can make the dynamics a lot louder than that. And also you can arpeggiate the layers. So let's try that real quick. Just click that. So we can't hear it that much. So right now I'm on the effects page. Let's go back and click this cog here and lower the attack on those layers. You have the ADSR controls here. That's always going to pop up when you click the cog. And now the attack will be a lot shorter, and we can actually hear those samples for the arpeggiated rhythm. So really cool stuff there. Let's turn off the arpeggiator. You get the idea of what that can do. And turn on layer C and find a good sound for that. So I've just soloed layer C so we can listen to some of these sources again. So playing with just the ADSR controls, lowering the attack and lowering the release there, you can make a lead or a pluck or a pad out of all of these different sound sources just by tweaking the ADSR there. So you get some really cool spacey, sort of like Tron type sounds there. Finally, the LFOs. Of course, we have an EQ just for each of those layers. I mentioned earlier some of the resonances were clashing in the mids. Easy fix if you can drop the octave up or down. Usually that'll solve it. But if you need more surgical control over that, of course, we can go in here and adjust the EQ. Now, finally, I want to go into the LFOs, and now we can open up a whole new world of possibilities for creating our own crazy spacey sounds. So, of course, LFOs for each of the layers here. What the LFO will actually modulate depends on what you click here. So, you want some subtle pitch shifting. So that was a quick look at the different features and functions of the GUI and sort of a walkthrough on going in depth about what everything does. So we have the different controls, everything easily mapped right across the GUI. If you need to access anything extra, just click the effects panel here. That's where you have your delays. Going back to the cog will allow you to adjust the ADSR, EQs, LFOs, as well as the different sound sources. Remember, you can pitch everything up and down an octave very easily just by clicking those. And then if you need to reset or randomize everything, if you like to reset the mallets, click that. If you like to reset the layers, click that. Everything back to normal as far as the controls. And then to randomize the actual samples, if you need some inspiration, click that. A, B, C, and then of course all will randomize them all. And you have a totally new sample set to play with. Now stay tuned for the other video, which will go over a lot of the different snapshots. And then if you want to hear what you can get with the presets we have included, just check that one out. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you next time.